You're listening to What She Grows Through, a podcast dedicated to empower and uplift Black women to grow their self-worth. I'm your host, Chanel Lemire, one of many dope Black women, creating a community for us to pour into and align with one another, uncovering our true feelings from sexuality to self-love, to begin growing through life and evolving into our best authentic selves. Let's get started. Hey, beautiful people, it's your girl Chanel Lemire back again with the latest episode of the What She Grows Through podcast. It is International Podcast Day, so I had to come out and share with you this gem or some gems. But through this journey towards wholeness, finding myself and aligning with other beautiful Black women who continue to support me, my main focus has been shifting my mindset to allow me to live in abundance. My businesses are booming and my children are amazing, so I really can just focus on being the best me, being my favorite version of myself. I won't say perfect because nothing or no one is. So let's just dive right into the episode. So I heard this saying, thoughts become things. And being the deep thinker that I am, I had been walking in this path, but said this way was nice. And Steve Harvey, that's where it came from, he went in deep on his view of this. So he talks about how we put ourselves in these positions with our thoughts and actions, and they become things. Like people who think negative thoughts, it turns into negative things. And of course, it's the opposite. People who have positive thoughts, they turn into positive things. So the question always is, what are you thinking? What are your thoughts? What's going on in your mind? But it's so deep. Like it can be like spiritual, biblical, everything. But one thing that I learned that was wild to me is this notion that is also passed down from our ancestors, like through our DNA. And I know you're probably like, what, Chanel? But for real, just listen. It's wild. So our beliefs, our attitudes, and for real, our overall feelings and patterns of behaviors, they're passed down from, well, they can be passed down from, our great. It's crazy because it's like you're telling me that, I think the same way that they did. And yeah, to an extent, yeah, you do. And that's a fact. And I'm going to stand beside it. But that's wild. But according to science, that's true. And me having that psychology degree background, I definitely agree. Just think about some of your family members like having issues with things like high blood pressure, heart disease, cancer. You go to the doctors now and they ask you about your family history because this can be a pattern for you, because those patterns can be passed down through your DNA. And we can literally trace our family tree back to those patterns, which hold like a lot of weight for real. So all these thoughts that we have in our mind are just not completely made up by ourselves. Yeah, even the wild ones. But some of them were passed down. So when you hear about your great grandma's behaviors and how wild her mouth would be, the way she moved, or you start seeing that trend with your grandma or your mom, and you see a bunch of those similar traits, you can think like, there's something that's something to think about. Like our thoughts and our actions off of this have an effect on us till this day. And in this moment today, especially as Black women, we're not having that. Like, all right, it's a no for me. Well, the negative ones. I know it's hella true for my family. So it's all about changing and shifting your mindset now moving forward so that you can begin really living. I know one of the mindset shifts I'm currently working on is this scarcity mindset. I know you heard the saying, like, what is it? Money doesn't grow on trees. And I definitely was brought up to believe that and saw, how hard my mom had to work to support me and my sister. And I now see how my mom's beliefs from her thoughts of her past and, her environment, I see how this shaped how she showed up. So to break this moving forward for me is to really recognize and focus on the fact that those limiting beliefs, some that were, from my upbringing, from my environment, I have to be more intentional about those moving forward, about those thoughts moving forward. So, how I'm currently shining a light to this is a process that I heard about from a speaker on Clubhouse, actually. Now, I wish I knew her name, but listen, I'm in so many dope rooms, I can't keep up with everyone. But she did talk about this process called contemplation. And that word just means like the action of looking thoughtfully at something, for a long time. So, a deep reflective thought. So it's when you actually take the time to assess your thoughts and then go in and focus on those thoughts that will only serve you. Beginning to do this will allow you to start training your mind, because most of the time we just allow our minds to just go crazy, roam freely however they want, and just freely as hell. And the thoughts just come in randomly and we have no control over them. But the truth really is that we can take control. And taking it a little deeper, our subconscious minds, they run on this thing, like this automatic programming kind of. And I think this is where that deja vu comes in, because we then think of every possible scenario that can happen, and then boom, one finally happens. So all our memories that we have from past experiences, all that sensory information that's coming in from the environment that we were in and even in currently, that's where the thoughts are usually coming in from, and they're out of control and they be having you lose your mind. So now that I talked your head off, a tip that I have for you to start thinking about changing your mindset is being intentional with it. Start going in, digging deep, and concentrating on the thoughts that really matter. Now, this will allow you to begin to break those limiting beliefs, and this will allow you to practice, using your mind. I heard this also, this saying, using those mental muscles. I love that. So you can take part in those, relaxing, worthwhile mindfulness things, anything that will allow you to just freely chill. But it will also allow you to create the things that you want in life, to be able to manifest the things that you just want in your life. Because girl, your thoughts, they turn into real life things. Instead of those random thoughts that's going wild in your head and just don't serve us or just help in any way, we'll be able to learn to develop the skills to really focus on the things that do matter. Now, you probably didn't even know about this, but when we create things, we create it twice. And it's wow, because we first do it as a thought, and then it becomes a thing through our words and our actions. So when we think about how we're going to contemplate this, like how we're going to focus on this, we have to do it first by concentrating on those things, the thoughts that are beneficial for us. So to allow ourselves to practice that mental muscle, using those mental muscles, that will allow us to stop thinking negatively when those crazy thoughts pop up. So to just nip that negative self-talk in the bud when it comes up, and allow yourself to get focused on the thoughts that matter, so you can manifest the things that you deserve, beautiful, because we all deserve everything that we want. So think about it. What does this mean to you? What does thoughts become things mean to you? And how can you begin to shift your mindset to live more positively? Highlighting this is going to trigger some new thoughts and things, of course, in your mind. So when you introduce new information to it, be more open-minded. Start introducing new concepts of thinking and recognizing that in that moment, you're able to create new ways of thinking, new positive ways. Now, of course, we're going to have to continue doing this over and over and over and over again, because through repetition, that's how we're able to adapt, to relearn, to rewire our subconscious mind, because that's how we'll create those new patterns and beliefs and get rid of and replace the things that don't matter with things that do. So focus on those thoughts, run wild in your head. It's so crazy. I, of course, struggle at times, but when I do, I catch myself thinking wild, and I can recognize it and stop it right there. Like, listen, I'm not trying to think about that Chanel right now. Like, when a sad song comes on in the car, I'm like, nah, I'm not trying to be in my feelings right now. I'm trying to live my best life. YOLO. It's like, no, I don't know. But you got to get into the habit of doing this, because those little things, those words that you say, those little thoughts that you allow to run through your mind that don't help you in any way, they become bigger things. Now, I have a metaphor that ties in perfectly with this topic. So, we're all these amazing, beautiful, growing trees, or even flowers. Yeah, let's do that. We're this beautiful flower, but we have to continue nourishing it. We have to do the upkeep, picking out those weeds, watering ourselves, giving ourselves that affection. Those things that don't serve you will grow much faster than the things that do. So it's hella important to take the time to water yourself, to give yourself that nurturance. We have to be mindful how our thoughts affect us as we continue growing through life. So my question to you, beautiful, is, again, what does thoughts become things mean to you? And really think about this often. Now, it doesn't have to be long, but you should try to, for a few minutes every day, for real. And I say only a few minutes because it's crazy when you're focusing on this. Here come all those unnecessary thoughts, like, boom, I gotta clean the kids' room, or did I send out that email? Did I reply back to that potential client? Like, oh my goodness, I forgot to do so and so. So yeah, it's going to take some time to reposition our minds so that we can begin bossing up and being, our best dope selves. And when those thoughts come in, bring it back, flip it around, bring it back, and start thinking, how can I make this work for me? Because the wild thing about our subconscious mind is it's all connected to energy. And I love this particular topic. That's why I say Janae Aiko is my cousin, because she's heavy into this. But I know you heard people saying things about like how we're all connected and everything is made of energy. And there's receipts on this too. Go and Google it. You'll see. People found that everything is connected to energy, and your subconscious mind is linked to this. And this, when used effectively, of course, will begin to have new, creative, meaningful thoughts. And again, I'm heavy on Clubhouse right now, and being around so many amazing people pouring into me, I'm changing because I'm becoming more aware of myself and also getting connected with that energy. Now, this can definitely come in through intuition. Like, come on now. A Black woman's intuition is unmatched. In our dreams, I'll forever know that there's a link through, from experience. From experience is wow. But we're tapping into that. And that's how we're able to create those new thoughts. There's a saying that says, if you're around 5 broke people, you'll be the 6. And then it's flipped, of course. If you're around 5 rich people, then you'll be the 6. But your environment, who you surround yourself with, you'll feed off of that. And in this, is this those weeds that need to be pulled, or is it that water that you need to bloom and flourish? And with that, I'm going to just drop the mic right there. I'm going to leave you that gem, all shiny and ready for your care and attention. Thank you for listening to the latest episode of the What She Grows Through podcast here on International Podcast Day. Woo woo! I hope you enjoyed and really begin to work on that beautiful inner woman ready to experience herself in the world in every way imaginable. Connect with me on socials at What She Grows Through on Instagram and Facebook. You can shoot me a DM. I'm very responsive. Like some of the content, follow, of course, and come join this blossoming community. It is going to be so lit. So also rank the show and definitely comment if you have the time. I love that. And scroll all the way up on the show's main page and hit that plus sign so you're following the show. Well, I think that's all that I have for you today. I look forward to talking with you again, beautiful. Until then.